Hi, my name is Kelly Amon, and this is my Acceptable Use Policy project. An AUP, or an Acceptable Use Policy, is any document that provides guidelines or rules on what use of technology is both acceptable and unacceptable under any business or organization. When I went to look up the guidelines that Westbrook Elementary, the school I work at, gives to parents, students, and staff, I saw that we had our own Westbrook Chromebook agreement that we pass out in the beginning of the year to students, but we also rely on our county, Montgomery County Public Schools, regulation documents, student AUP, and other web pages that they provide. When I was searching, here are just some of the ones that I found. They have a terms of use page, which goes into the different uses of technology. They had an AUP geared to secondary grades or grades 6 through 12. They had an AUP that seemed to be more appropriate for elementary school, and they had 2 regulation documents. I started with this first regulation document, the user responsibilities for computer systems and electronic information and network security. This seemed to be based around technology and had 6 different sections and broke down what was appropriate for each. Under conduct and use, it had 11 different statements about what was appropriate and what was not. Then I looked at the AUP that seemed to be geared toward elementary school. Under the student section, this had 17 statements about what was appropriate and what was not. All of these statements started with I will or I will not and was very clearly stating what students should or should not be doing. Last, I looked at the Westbrook Chromebook contract, which had expectations and general information about the technology. What I thought was interesting was in their violation and consequences section, they wrote that they also have to comply with the regulation that we talked about earlier, as well as a separate regulation for students' rights and responsibilities, as well as the code of conduct in addition to this Chromebook agreement. So to communicate all these guidelines to staff, students, and parents, my first suggestion is to making one place for all these resources. So if they're signing a Chromebook contract, they can see those other documents as well. For other teachers, this information should be easier to find and again in one place. This information should also be directly communicated to staff. I had to search around for these documents when this should be a staff meeting where staff have to read through these documents and be aware of what they say. For students, it's important to review this policy in the classroom. Break down vocabulary with them and have them ask questions. You can also create anchor charts or visuals with the students, and that would be most appropriate for students like mine in first grade. To parents, it's important to communicate about anything that needs to be signed. Attach something talking about why it's important and why they're signing it. It would also be nice to review these AUPs in person and be available for questions that parents might have. To implement these in our classroom, and to promote digital citizenship in your classroom, for students, it's important to establish these clear rules in the beginning and to reference them throughout the year. It's important for you as a teacher to model digital citizenship so students can see it in action. It's important to explicitly teach digital citizenship. Right here is a picture from a video that can be offered to teach them exactly what it means to be a digital citizen. You can organize resources, making things easier for your students to find. You need to supervise and hold students accountable when they are online. And again, use technology standards and lessons to use best practices when implementing technology. To help implement this AUP when working with other teachers, again, model digital citizenship around your teachers and share lessons and best practices that work with your students, because it could work with theirs as well. You can share and model IST standards such as modeling and promoting strategies for achieving equitable access to digital tools and resources and technology-related best practices for all students and teachers. And lastly, give reminders about the acceptable use policy aspects and guidelines, and give advice for students' or teachers' best interest. Being knowledgeable of an AUP is a skill and something that you should share with those in your building. Thank you.